Just getting set up here to start streaming some Apex matches. The playoffs, the first round of the Season 7 playoffs, are going to begin in 10 minutes. So once I get set up here, which will only take me a minute, my plan is to go through the brackets, go through the groups, and look at who's matched up against who. Take a note of which groups are... which groups have some of my guildmates and some of my friends in them, so that we can switch back and forth between some of those matches. And hopefully get a chance to see some good, interesting matches and some friendos winning their games. I think that would be a pretty fun way to spend the afternoon. Hey, Joseph Williams, just getting started here now. I'm going to make sure to share my link, and then I'm going to start taking some notes in the groups to see who is playing where. So I have 5 guildmates in the playoffs, plus Tristan, who is my brother but not in my guild, because he's too loyal to Kutaru. Yeah, the Zansen and auto run match is going to be really good, I think. Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of matchups like that, where it's really good players that just crashed into each other in the first round. Okay, so let's get this Sophia title card out of the way. I know everyone's probably sick of looking at that. And let's jump in. And check out the groups. Okay, so I'm going to start... Yeah, I'm started at Group A. I've got my handy-dandy red pen. So, let's just take a look. Obviously, there are a lot of good matches, and I only have 7 minutes now. Obviously, yeah, like I was saying, there's going to be a lot of really good matchups. So commenting on all of them in 7 minutes is going to be very tricky. So I'm going to focus on the matches where I know people, first and foremost. I mean, there are a lot of people streaming the playoffs, probably. So some of the big matches, I'm sure some of the other streamers will be covering. And we also have the ability to come back and re-watch some of these matches afterwards as well. So that's something that we may do after. But for now, for the live games, I want to make sure I am catching some of my friends. Because after all, that's the reason you tune into a Kong stream. A little bit more casual, a little bit more chill, a little bit more community-based. I see we have Nitro against Kampa in the first round. That's going to be a pretty good match, probably. And of course, a lot of these players have changed their names to hide who they are, so to kind of prevent their opponent from doing some research on them. So it may be difficult to identify what some of the really good matches are beforehand. Okay, so here's Junnie. That's my guild leader, and he's in Group D. Junnie. Taking notes the old-fashioned way. So we're also looking for Lots of great players in this bracket, actually. Meow Sensei and Squallkaze concede. Zelda over on this side. Yank is good. He's in Tristan's guild. Tenacious Rope, Pinion. Lots of good players in Group E. Okay, in Group F, let's see who we have. Oh, Baikanfu is a new recruit to my guild, actually. He's in Group F. He joined after the Dimensional Expedition, and yeah, he's in the playoffs, so we'll definitely be following him versus Lufia Scarlet to see if he can do well. Arcadius is also in my guild, and he is in Group G. Arcadius. And he's against Lee-Man, so that's going to be a tough draw for the first round. Kata versus Santachai in the first round. Trisket versus Kyutaru in the first round. Both friends of the channel, as you know. Kyutaru helped me with the Ancient Beckoning School with Professor Kyutaru series, and Trisket contributed the Jugler ASMR clip to the latest Should You Summon episode. Okay, here's Chung versus ZodK. And that's in Group H, Chung. So there should be one more guildmate that I'm looking for. There's Anirol, another member of the strategy squad. One more guildmate plus Tristan are the people I'm keeping my eyes for now. Free to play KK. I noticed a lot of people changed their names to KK related. Real KK. We got some KK theme for people who are hiding behind change names. Langston as well. I've noticed there are several Langstons. Manson versus Evolution in the first round. So we're seeing a lot of these matchups of traditionally good players, successful players, crashing into each other. So here's Zanson Auto Run. That's in Group K. That'll be easy to remember because KK seems to be the theme of this playoffs. Okay, so Nidori is my other guildmate, and that is Group K. And that's versus Pete. Pete is a member of the Art Academy, the Zelong Games, basically the fan art equivalent of the strategy squad. And he's a good player as well. I've run into him in the ladder before, and he crushed me. So we're just looking for Tristan now, so he must be in here. The Lord Thy God is against one of the many KKs. Q and Air in the first round. That's another match of big players. Air, of course, another popular streamer, and Q had a lot of success in the playoffs last season. Got to the top 4 last season, so he's a well-known PvP player and streamer of PvP stuff as well. Okay, we are 1 minute away. Cecil H versus Fjarler Level. So this is another Art Squad versus Strategy Squad matchup. And Lumas is in this bracket, Bakira's in this bracket, Desu's in this bracket, Michuzak and SSJ Patrick. I've seen someone playing this account before. So that's quite a stacked bracket, actually. Alright, let's see if we find Tristan before these matches start. There he is. Okay, so Tristan's in Group O. And he's playing against Vicelord, who I believe is a main quarter. Just wishing my guildmates good luck. Okay. And with that accomplished, why don't we just hop in and take a look at Tristan's match first? So, waiting for players to enter, we can see their boxes. Tristan is playing Jugler, Hilda, and Landius for tanks. He's got Florentia, Close, and Liana, and Rosenseal for healers. So he's actually playing a 3-tank, 4-healer box. He also has Mariel as a off-healer, and Bernhard as potentially, I mean, you can use Bernhard as a tank if you get banned out of your tanks, but with 3 tanks that shouldn't be a problem for Tristan. Vicelord, on the other hand, has what looks like a little bit more of a rush box. He's got Clotaire in here, he's got Leonhardt. Tristan, I noticed Tristan doesn't have Kruger in his box. That's interesting, and he's running Ultimuller, so looking a little bit more on the Empire side over here. Okay, Vicelord has Ultimuller as well, though. Okay, so the boxes are fairly similar in terms of meta composition. Vicelord just has a little bit more of these AoE, also Empire characters. So, match starts in 30 seconds. I don't know how much you guys want me jumping back and forth between these matches, or would you rather stay fairly consistent? Like, we can watch the Tristan and Vice ban pick, and then maybe swap over to another one of these matches? Or, like, if it looks like things are going south fairly quickly and the match is pretty much over, then we can swap over to another match. So ban pick is going to get started here now. Yep, that makes sense. Vice doesn't want to face Tristan's Jugler because it looks like he intends to play a lot of AoEs. Tristan picking up his tank. Gonna hope that Hilda is gonna be enough, or that he's gonna be able to ban out enough of Vice's big threats. Of course, in this meta, at least for me, I found there's no shortage of big threats. It's pretty much impossible to ban out everything these days. Okay, Vice going with the first pick Florentia, which I've seen more and more as this season has gone on. It's a fairly good all-in Empire first pick. He knows he's going to have a buffer for her. And especially as player 2, he'll be able to make great use of all her act-agains. So Tristan does get rid of the Empire and Strat buffers. With that first pick Florentia, he knows he doesn't want to give the Bernhardt, certainly. But there are other Empire buffers, there are other buffers in this box. Leon, Rosenseal can both buff her. I mean, even Ares. The Dobermans are going absolutely bananas in the background. So Vice banning out Tristan's 2 Act Again healers. The Dobermans are clearly... I don't know if they're rooting for Tristan or against Tristan. So yeah, Vicelord does get Leon, so he's still going to be able to lean into the Empire. He could bring the Empire buff on Leon. And Tristan secures Close as his healer. Hey, thanks for the follow, by the way, Fred. Fred Numbers. Here, let's center your name. It's a bit more respectful. Alright, Vice with another long leg Empire unit. So he's got quite the rangy threat here with Leon and Elwyn both. Tristan does have fairly strong counters to these cavalry units in Hilda. Hilda's a good spiky tank against them. So Vice is either going to need to get one of these AoEs in the mix, or hope that he can use Leon to displace some of Tristan's formation and take out his characters without having to think about Hilda too much. Or just hope for Tristan to make a mistake. By contrast, Tristan so far only has one DPS, one true DPS picked. Mariel can be a DPS as well, obviously. She can definitely be dangerous. But so far it's looking like he's expecting Elwyn to do a lot of work for him. Vicelord thinking very hard about who he wants to leave Tristan with as his last pick. Taking out Landius, interesting, and Bozel. So Tristan does have the option for one AoE debuffing type character or Ultimuller. Small putting $1 on Tristan. What do you think? Does Tristan have better odds of winning this match versus Vice than he did of winning versus Fenrir the other night? Alright, so Vice gets his Kruger out. I haven't seen many people playing close, so I'm not sure exactly how strong she is as a counter to Kruger's kind of debuffs. Alright, so Tristan is going to leave Vice with the option of another long leg cavalry, who can ignore guard if he moves far enough. Or Rosenseal. So that's extra healing. It's also potentially another Empire buff if he wants to go that way instead of giving it to Leon. So that's 4 Empire characters. Tristan looking a little bit more incoherent as far as buffs are concerned. He does have the option for Glory with Elwyn and Mariel, or he can do Tensei with Hilda and Mariel. So they're just going to pick their skills and soldiers now. We don't really get to watch that. But it theoretically shouldn't take too long. I think when I do skip, the next fight that I'd like to go over to and look at is Junnie, because he was playing Mioko, who I have suspicions about who Mioko is. I was talking to someone or overheard someone mention that when they get into playoffs they were planning on changing their name to Mioko. So pretty good bet that it's that person or someone in their guild. So I'm not 100% sure. But that'll be a good match, and I think Junnie has a good chance of winning. Small, we think Tristan takes this one. Okay. I think ban pick does look good for Tristan. It'll be a matter of seeing whether Vice can do something about this Hilda. And Tristan brings the Phalanx to counter the 2 big heavy-hitting cavalry units. It looks like he is bringing the Glory faction buff on Elwyn. And Hilda's bringing Rout as well to give her a little bit of offensive capability. So Close also has Phalanx in case she gets caught out in the open. She'll have a little bit of defense. Alti's bringing faction buff for himself. And Tristan staying fairly far back. Yeah, plot twist Ultimuller tanking instead of Hilda. Well, Tristan didn't try to go too hard on the Lancer route and bring Phalanx for Ultimuller at least. So it looks like Vicelord ended up going with the Empire buff on Rosenseal instead of Leon, so that gives Leon access to both his 3C and Chivalry, so that gives him a little bit more offensive capabilities, so that's probably a smart move for him. He's got the double big attacks for Elwyn. He's got a Spiky Lancer Kruger, so with the typical skill setup. So this is, since he's not playing a tank, he wants to make it more difficult. He wants to make Kruger a less appealing target for Tristan's Elwyn. Excuse me. I just got back from a sporting event of my own, so I literally kind of got in the door 10-15 minutes ago, so I'm tired and dirty. And what else do we have here? We have Mass Attack on Florentia. Other than that, everything looking fairly typical. This is an offensive Rosenseal. She's got the buff. She's got an AoE attack, which will give some benefit against Tristan, since he doesn't really have any AoE defense here. He doesn't have Jugler, he doesn't have area, like, continuous heals. So he's going to be hoping that he can wear Tristan down before Tristan can really mount a concerted offense. I think Tristan looks good after ban pick here. He has a well-rounded team. He doesn't have tons in the way of DPS. Like, I don't know if Ultimuller with the big suck can really one-shot. I mean, probably Florentia, maybe Leon. I'm not sure how strong Tristan's Ultimuller is. And actually, that reminds me, I used his Ultimuller in Fenrir, so hopefully he remembered to set him back up for Apex. So after a couple turns of this, I think once we get a feel for the flow of the game, we can maybe hop over and look at one of the other matches. Vicelord thinking about what his next move is going to be. It's annoying not to be able to see the danger zone when you're spectating like this, because things like Leon's Mech Knights can really change. So I think Vicelord's approach is going to have to be to try to wear down Tristan's team with some of these AoEs. Okay, yep, so he is going to act again Kruger to splash some AoE damage on Tristan's team, and hopefully be able to wear this Hilda down enough, or debuff and cripple the team enough that Tristan's not going to be able to pick his unguarded units off. This is a plus mobility. Kruger can basically do whatever he wants, wherever he wants. He has the plus move. He just caught another breeze there. He's got himself shielded, so he's actually going to be very difficult for any of Tristan's units to take out. And he's going to 3C right away. So Mariel silenced. So Tristan goes ahead and opens with the big Aurora ring. Now, unfortunately, she was the one who had Kruger's 3C debuff, so she passed some debuffs around there as well. Everyone did not get fully healed up. And Kruger's now able to follow up with another big AoE. Mariel's not silenced anymore, though. So Tristan is going to go ahead and blow her healing as well. Close with the heal block buff, or debuff. That's a good, strong opening for Vicelord. That's pretty much the opening he needed to get. He needs to get some of those big AoEs off first to weaken Tristan's team as much as possible. Now Tristan debating. He knows he can't really strike out yet, because then his units will be out of guard range. In fact, even if he moves Hilda up preemptively, then he won't be guarding Ultimuller and Elwyn. And Elwyn doesn't have his revive right now because he's in close. So Tristan is going to strike out and take this opportunity to try to take down one of Vicelord's important DPS units. So he is able to kill the Leon. Now, Elwyn does have his revive now that he's away from his team, so that's kind of an unappealing target for Vice as well, right? He'll do what he can. Florentia, not enough to take her out on her own. But possibly able to kill Elwyn's first life with Rosenseal here. And then because he has turn priority, he'll be able to kill Elwyn's second life at the start of the next round. So Tristan is going in for the attack on Kruger, and wow, he does finish Kruger in one hit with Ultimuller. Okay, so Vice is going to be able to freely kill this Elwyn. I think it might be too little too late, to be honest. Losing Leon and Kruger, even with Tristan not having Elwyn anymore, he does still have Ultimuller as a main DPS, he still has a tank, and he still has healing options, so Tristan will still be in good shape. Vice does need to get rid of this Elwyn, though, because if he doesn't kill him, and Tristan gets the opportunity to move him, he'll fully heal when he attacks. Yeah, so that's a smart move. Yeah, Small, you're right. I don't think Vice was really in a position to go one-for-one trading. I didn't think Kruger would go down that easy, and now that he did, Vice is really on his heels. So Tristan basically has to be able to take out an Elwyn who's being double healed. So he'll be able to do this a similar kind of thing of... Well, the thing about this Elwyn is he can't even really do much to get through this Hilda, and she has a lot of buffs, so even if he strips 5 of these, even if he does strip her guard, then he has to go next turn while Tristan's wailing on him, so I think Tristan is in fairly good shape on this one. So let me know if you want to hop over and take a look at the Junnie match, or if you'd like to continue watching Tristan and see how this plays out. Yeah, Tristan's healing is very strong. He's got a very solid position here now. It's not even going to come down to a battle for the middle, I think. He's going to be able to wear through Vice's remaining units. Yep, and Vice knows it, so he concedes there. Let's go take a look at one of the other matches while they're getting set back up, and we can come back to that one and see if ban pick goes a bit differently. Okay, so let's see, where was Junnie? This is Group D. Junnie's match is still ongoing, so let's take a look at how things are going here. So this is Mioko with Jugler, a couple nice long-range units here in Elwyn and Ares. He's got Liana, and he's got standard Kruger. Junnie is, on the other hand, looking like, okay, he's got a couple tanks, Jugler and Hilda. He's got Zerida and Ares. So his intention will be to snipe one or more of Miyoko's strong threats with that Zerida. The question will be if he's able to do it. So Mioko doesn't have Hilda or Landius, who are very strong anti-Zerida characters. Hilda prevents a critical hit every couple turns, and Landius, of course, has the -% crit chance aura. So if Junnie's plan is to assassinate a unit with Zerida, he has about as good a chance as he's going to have. He has Ares as well, and it's a single target Ares. 1600 attack, so he may be thinking about trying to assassinate this Jugler. That's a pretty beefy Jugler though, and as we know, werewolves are also very juicy. Mioko's Ares is AoE. Okay. Interesting. Okay, and he has the faction buff on Hilda, which is buffing Ares and Florentia. So this looks like it might be more of a grindy match than the one we saw from Tristan. Now Mioko and Junnie have also both used half their backup time, so that's fairly interesting since we're only 2 rounds in. Obviously, while I'm attempting to commentate from a fairly neutral position, I do want Junnie to win. I'm rooting for my guildies, after all. And when you guys are in the playoffs, including you, Optimum Pride, I'm going to be rooting for you as well. Apex Arena is not super scary, to your point from earlier. You just kind of have to get in and do some matches and get some experience under your belt. Playoffs definitely might be a little bit more intimidating, but I wouldn't know because I'm also not in the playoffs. But I do enjoy competing in the regular season. There are ups and downs, but you just have to treat it like another fun part of the video game that you're enjoying. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely going to be kind of a thinky grind match. When these two players start to run out of their backup time, we're going to start to see some quicker moves and maybe some mistakes as well. Alright, so Junnie's setting up the Alhazard Zerida 3C. Now that Ares has already acted. She's getting the act again, so Miyoko's hope is probably going to be that Ares can come in and AoE around this Zerida and take her out just from AoE hits. Which is definitely possible, mind you. It's definitely possible. Yeah, he's going to have to go in. He's going to have no choice here. If Mioko doesn't use this turn to go in and try to take out this Zerida, then Zerida can basically kill maybe the Liana, probably the Ares, maybe the Kruger. One possible counter hope for Junnie might be to jump the dog and try to lock down this Ares so he can't get through, but then he risks sacrificing Jugler. It might be worth it for him because he also has Hilda as a main tank back here. It depends on where Mioko uses his AoE. He doesn't need to go all the way in and AoE this whole batch. He can just kind of come to the corner of Zerida here and just hit her with the first burst. He would still suck in Jugler. The question, I think, would be whether the 2 AoE hits from that and then possibly the Jugler follow-up would be enough to overwhelm Zerida's hit points versus Jugler's healing. I'm not sure what kind of healing Junnie will get out of this Jugler here. It'll be very interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see what happens here. I mean, Junnie knows that Mioko had the act again up his sleeve, so it's certainly possible that Zerida's being dangled as a little bit of an enticement for Mioko to make this play. Although I don't think he really wants to trade the Zerida, because Zerida is one of his only 2 DPS units here. And Junnie is already very low on backup time, so he's going to have to execute his game plan pretty much turn for turn now. Yeah, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say that it really looks like a bait. That would be a pretty ballsy bait. Okay, so the initial AoE does not put much of a dent in Zerida. So this would put less of a dent. Yeah, and like you said, Jugler's going to get that extra healing off on her. Now, Junnie doesn't have a ton of follow-up to capitalize on this bait either. He will have turn priority now, since Mioko used that act again. So he may be able to use his own Ares or the Zerida to finish that Ares. But he may want the Zerida to finish someone else who's back here. We'll have to see what his plan is. I think Junnie knows the next few steps in his plan. So that he can get them off fairly quickly without wasting his 6 seconds of backup time. Brogio in Game 2 versus Starkey. Alright, who won the first game, Brogio? I'm going to assume you. And either way, good luck in Game 2. Alright, now Mioko running dangerously low on backup time as well. So both of these players, like I said, I think we're going to start seeing some more reckless plays or some mistakes maybe even as they have to start pulling the trigger more and more quickly. After this match, we'll flip to one of the other guildmate matches in the other groups. So, going in with Rain, he's going to hope to strip as many buffs off Jugler as he can. Not getting through the Jugler. Now that did eat up the Hilda's anti-crit proc, so Miyoko's able to crit Junnie's units now. And I'm not sure. Mioko might be tempted to dive in with Jugler here now. There's not a huge reason for him not to. Like, his backline units aren't super at risk. I mean, they're at risk from Zerida anyway, but Jugler being back there doesn't help them. So we'll see what his play is. Yeah, he's going to bring Jugler up to join the rest of his entrenched units up here. He's not going to do too much since that Jugler's going to get some group healing off. Now, Jugler has the Sword Soul can't be healed debuff right now, so it's certainly going to be possible for... Actually, no, Jugler's under guard right now. And Jugler himself is not guarding, so you can't trick Jugler's guard by coming in and attacking Hilda to wipe him out. So he's protected by Hilda right now. Yep, and as I suspected, Junnie is going to focus on one of these more dangerous units behind enemy lines. So he takes out Kruger. He doesn't want to have to deal with that really annoying debuffing AoE unit. The characters who are more up close, he's going to figure that he can deal with his tank or with his Ares later. So yeah, he tries to sneak around, put a dent into a tank. Hilda guards that attack quite convincingly. Jugler has all of his guards up right now. Yeah, Zerida's still in good shape back here now. I mean, it's certainly possible. I guess it's not. Ares is too far away. So Florentia spreading some curse around the team. But Hilda's still keeping the fort held down here pretty well. Oh, her guard was stripped. I guess she's not keeping the fort held down. So that got rid of one of Junnie's guards. Yeah, he still has to get through the Hilda, which is the main problem. We know Ares has already used his 3C, so he doesn't have his 3C for another couple turns. Elwyn is not going to be able to put a dent in this Hilda, so the question then becomes, is Junnie going to be able to do anything about this Jugler? He's going to try. Here comes a single target Ares attempt on either Leanna or Jugler here. Let's see who he wants to pick off. He can try to assassinate Leanna. I'm not sure if Junnie's... Okay, he's not Ragnarok. So Leanna's Shrine Maidens, saving her from that initial big single target burst. Let's see if the AoEs can finish her off. Oh, finished off by the Scarlet Reaper proc right at the end. She almost survived that. Well, okay, so that leaves Mioko with no healer as well. So he's just got Jugler tanking for these single target units, one of whom really can't do anything against Hilda. So he's going to go hide Zerida, get her 3C back up, so she'll be able to run in and pick off Ares next, would be my guess. If she has the range to get at Elwyn, she could also think about killing Elwyn because he is hurt and he is grouped up with his friends, so he won't get his revive either. Now Mioko with 3 seconds of backup time, Junnie with 0 seconds of backup time, so he's on the time is running out 15 seconds clock every turn now. Let's see what he does. He better do something. Okay, he's just going to heal Hilda up. Bias aside, I think that Junnie has the upper hand here. He has a healer, he has a strong tank. And he still has 2 very competent DPS units. So Jugler coming in for the Beast Shot here. And he kills Hilda's first life. Now, is that Beast Shock blocking Hilda's guard? It is. Hilda can't guard right now, so Florentia's in danger. It's irrelevant to these units over here, they weren't being guarded anyway, but it's certainly going to be possible for Mioko to take out Junnie's only healer. And Mioko does have turn priority, so he gets to choose if he wants to go for flow, or if he wants to try to reach all the way over here and take out one of the DPS. I think you probably take advantage of the tank's guard being down. Okay, so Junnie uses his sneaky Stinger Zerida to take out that Jugler. So now let's see. Okay. So without Jugler there, Hilda's guarding again, so I think Miyoko's toast. I don't think he has any answer to this team anymore. He can run around all he likes. He can pick off stray units all he likes, but Junnie's just going to be able to guard the center with his tank and healer. So I think this is game 1 for Junnie. Even if Junnie keeps making tons of mistakes, I don't think Miyoko's going to be able to get rid of this Hilda. So let's take that for granted, and we'll go take a look at one of the other matches. So far it's looking like, well, we saw game 1 for Tristan. It's looking like game 1 for Junnie. Let's take a quick look over at Group H and see how Chung is doing. Chung versus ZodK. Chung won the first game. Okay, so Chung is already up game 1, and this is the start of game 2. Not 100% sure who ZodK is, but he is rocking a Season 1 frame. And who does he have? He's going tankless. He is running the Empire buff on Rose and Seal to benefit his Leon and his Leonhardt. And he also has Kruger and Sage as well, so Sage for some mean Myth AoE. And it looks like Chung is running kind of his standard rush box. Chung always loves a first pick Elwyn rush, so he's got Elwyn in here with the faction buff. He's got Ultimuller with his tanking skill. 3C tank Ultimuller. Someone joked that we would see Ultimuller tanking earlier, and we ended up getting it in this match. We also have a single target Ares. And we have Yusuke, who's a pretty good cleanup crew against tankless teams. So Yusuke is actually a strong pick against what ZodK has fielded here. And he also has Akka, of course, as a kind of team support buffer. Really good for this kind of rush team. Hey, Death Queen. Yeah, Zerda surviving all the AoEs, literally all the AoEs, was a big part of that win for Junnie for sure. Or that supposed win. We didn't see the official ending. So Chung deciding on what he wants his first move to be here. Who's my dollar on for this one? Let's see. I think I give this one to Chung as long as he can secure a good opening. I mean, Chung has lots of experience playing this kind of box. I'm just not sure how much experience he has playing his rush box against another tankless box. Now, this is actually a good map for Mech Rider Leon. He can cover a lot of ground, so Chung has to be careful about units that he exposes to that Leon. I think that's where tanking Ultimuller comes in. He actually does have his guard skill up right now as well, so he is protecting his units from this cavalry. ZodK, of course, will also have the ability to jump Leonhardt in to take advantage of turn priority on the next move. Or on the next turn, rather. So Chung, without a true healer, is going to have to look out for these big, potentially devastating AoEs. And I think that's going to be the main thing that zones him out in this match. If he gets units crippled by Kruger, like silenced, then it's going to be hard, or heal blocked, it's going to be hard for him to come back. Elwyn will get some immunity for himself after he uses his Reign of Glory, but it can be dispelled, and if either of these guys get heal blocked, it's a big problem for them. Chung is definitely doing a lot of tile counting right now. So Leonhardt is able to get in here for his big AoE ring attacks. I might be voting with my heart when I say I think my dollar's on Chung in this one. I don't have a lot of experience playing tankless or rush boxes myself, so I find them fairly hard to read, especially at the beginning when people are jockeying for position. So bringing out the Blood of the Sheikah opening on turn 2. I think this is turn 2. Oh, this is actually still round 1, so we joined this match right at the start. I guess it makes sense that it's round 1 with these units all still back here. Alright, and she uses that opening gambit to move Yusuke out of the way. Obviously worried about Yusuke getting picked off. So sacrificing the wolf did give him his free anger status and his Mimir's hammer buff. Chung's still thinking about what he wants to do. So this teleport gave Yusuke an action. Okay, so he's going to go hide and transform. And now, with the nature of these boxes and these teams the way they are, I think we're going to start seeing some action here on turn 2. It's time to see some action, I think. Yep, so here comes Leonhardt with that opening Balance Blade AoE. And of course he's going to get his act again, because he hit 3 units. And it looks like he's going to go in for an Air Slash against Ultimuller, and that does kill Ultimuller. So Ultimuller does not have a revive, and that is essentially Chung's tank. Now, because of the teleport, oh no, I guess that teleport damage reduction buff is worn off, but he gets damage reduction from the Highland Warriors. So being at 100% health, being fairly chonky with good damage reduction on his troops is going to make it difficult for Chung. I mean, I guess he can come in with the cavalry and hope that he can finish off Leonhardt. That's a good trade for ZodK, though. Trading Leonhardt, who's really a big opening gambit character, for Chung's scary Ultimuller and main tank. That's a good trade. We'll just see if Chung wants to take the trade and who he wants to use to do it. He does want to keep some DPS up his sleeve in case Leon comes in. He wants to make sure that he has a unit that he can use to take care of the Leon. It looks like we're going to go with the Elwyn. Elwyn can't move again because he's in range of this Leonhardt aura. Can't get the Act Again effect. That is a big mistake from Chung. Everyone forgets that effect. Ilusha has a similar effect as well in Aura after she uses her 3C, that people can't use Act Again effects. And that's exactly the kind of thing, if you're playing Leonhardt, that you're hoping to have happen. Is Elwyn moving in, popping his Act Again skill, and then not being able to use it because of this aura. So that's... Chung is going to have to psychologically steel himself to recover from that move. All he can do is put it behind him and continue to try to play his game plan back here. Yeah, that one hurts. That one hurts. That's one of those moves that everyone just forgets about. Okay, so Chung is going with backup plan, Ares, single target attack. Not going to secure the kill. Now notice he also didn't use the 3C. He wanted to keep that up his sleeve. But without the extra burst from the 3C, just that single target attack, not enough to finish. So we'll see how ZodK is going to capitalize on this. He has the upper hand now for sure. He still has a Leon who has tons of range. Elwyn is kind of stuck out here up front, and he doesn't have access to his revive right now because his teammates are too close. So ZodK is going to kind of hold back to see what kind of pickings come up for his Leon, because he definitely... I mean, he has 8 move on his own, plus his Mech Knights. Okay, so Chung uses the Akka to finally finish off the Leonhardt. Can the Leon finish the Elwyn? The Elwyn has counterattack damage. He also has minus 20% damage taken. He has a damage dealt buff from his faction buff, so yeah, I'm not sure. He should be able to. I mean, Leon's going to have a shitload of attack, and he has his 3C as well, if he wants to go Shiv 3C. Even if Elwyn had his revive, the 3C, the extra burst from the 3C might be able to kill Elwyn and his revive, but that's a moot point because Elwyn doesn't have his revive right now. Alright, so here comes the Shiv. It's going to be a question of, did ZodK want to come in for the Yusuke? And he did. Oh wow, and the 3C AoE took out Ares as well. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. The Yusuke was a good target, because his ability to attack from long range made him a bit more threatening against some of these more long-distance characters. So, Chung is going to try to pull it together here with his Elwyn. Now, I've seen Chung play games with just Elwyn before. So, as long as he doesn't get really seriously debuffed, he is going to be able to keep healing. And I'm not sure... I mean, I guess he's going to be trying to rely on staying away from Elwyn. He has a potential revive with Rose and Seal, plus she has her Shrine Maidens. He has a revive with Sage of the Trees, so maybe he can keep Elwyn's DPS down long enough to be able to chip away at him with AoEs. Sage limits Elwyn's mobility as well. And Kruger has a lot of range on these debuffing AoEs, so it's certainly possible for ZodK to keep chipping away at Elwyn, but as long as Chung plays smart with Elwyn, he'll be able to keep him away and then pounce in whenever he sees an opening. So let's see just how crippled his Elwyn is going to be after this burst from Kruger. Yeah, I agree with that one for sure. Having Lancer troops on Kruger would have definitely helped him in this situation. Okay, so Elwyn not ending up with debuffs because of his Reign of Glory pseudo-gospel that makes him immune to all debuffs. So the AoE combo does chip away a lot of Elwyn's health. The problem is, as long as Elwyn can move before attacking, which it doesn't look like he can do right now because of all these Sage tiles, he'll heal that health back. The other problem is, even if he goes in, he has other, like, even if he were able to one-shot this Kruger, which is going to be tough through this bubble, then he still has these other magical attack units to contend with. So he's going to keep his distance for now and hope that ZodK gets squeezed by the fog a little bit, gives him an opening that he can pick off someone safely. ZodK looks like he has fairly solid positioning here, with his two really tanky, potentially reviving units in the middle, occupying the middle of the map, both on forts, and of course Kruger still has his bubble shield. ZodK getting more Sage terrain tile up to make it difficult. Oh, okay, he's going to come in and do another big AoE burst with Kruger. Kills Akka, and the immunity to debuffs is gone because Elwyn moved last turn, so he is not able to be buffed right now, and his damage delta is decreased. He's going to heal up, but let's see if he can... He does kill Kruger, even with his reduced ability to deal damage. So let's see if ZodK can put together any kind of combo to stop this Elwyn now. Do you chip away at it with Sage, knowing that Elwyn's going to be coming for one of these units next turn? Sage, of course, can just revive. So even if Elwyn comes up and kills the Sage, Sage will be there to take a 1-2 poke at him. Chung knows that, so he's going to hide and look for another opportunity later. Okay, so Rosen doesn't have 3C, so I've been saying that she's a potential revive unit. Without her 3C crystal transformation, she actually can't revive. So Elwyn gets onto terrain. And Zod playing quite defensively here, putting up his defensive buffs, Miracle. He's definitely making things very unpleasant for Chung's Elwyn. Plus the fog is moving in now, so there's no place for either of these players to hide. Chung's going to come up onto the fort, take a stab at this Sage. Not a ton of damage. Those Crystal Warlocks are beefy. Yeah, once the fog closes in, I don't know if Chung's going to be able to... Nice wind wall proc there for Elwyn, keeping that Sage damage down, but it doesn't look like this Elwyn is going to be able to get through this Sage. If he can get all the way in on Rosenseal, for example, he can get a little bit of healing, but I don't think he's going to bust through this Rosenseal either. She's fairly bulky, and she does have 100% HP Shrine Maidens. He's going to try it. No dice. He just busts the Maidens. And of course, ZodK now has healing from the Gift of Eternal Life here. And from Rosenseal herself. So I don't think Chung has a way to overcome ZodK's defenses. Yeah, it would have been a good opportunity to take out that Elwyn, just because then you don't have to deal with all of his reviving BS. So here's the 3C. Pushing Elwyn back into the fog. I'm not sure why he did it from the fog himself. I guess maybe his mobility was such that he couldn't get in over top of Elwyn, or was that a mistake? I thought he had 3 mobility. He could have moved here and done it from there. Elwyn can... Okay, he's... I think Elwyn can still get in here on Chung's turn. I think. Oh yeah, it's not even a Sage tile anymore, so he can get at least to here. Alright, so he's going to go here and rain. Get his buff up, get his immunity to debuffs, get his healing up, and go in and finish off this Sage who wasted his first life. Wasted his first life by waiting on the fog. This is a real nail-biter now. Okay, so there's Elwyn's first life. Now, He has no choice but to move one and attack. Like, if he doesn't attack, he doesn't get any healing. So he gets his 20%. Oh, wow. Can Rosenseal do 16%? I think she can. I think Rosenseal can finish Elwyn with a normal attack now. Oh, and it was so close! It was so close, but she got him. Wow. That was a totally mad battle. Let us take a look at how... let's go back and look at Tristan, actually, since their Game 2 would have been going on for quite some time. Oh, yes, it was. So Vicelord took Game 2 off Tristan, which means we're in the tiebreaker game now. Wow, that Chung match. So Chung had won the first game, didn't he? So that battle's at 1-1 as well. ZodK being able to just squeeze out enough single target normal attack damage from Rosenseal to take out that Elwyn. A big part of the reason for that was because Elwyn could only move one space before attacking, so he could only get 20% of his hit points back. If he was able to move further, then he would have been able to heal more. What happened to the Old Landius? Old Landius moved himself onto one of the fog tiles to use his 3C to push Elwyn downwards. I think that must have been a mistake from ZodK not realizing that was a fog tile, because he essentially gave up. He was at 100% health too, so he gave up a really good 100% health first life on that Sage of the Trees. I'm sure he could have pushed Elwyn from one of the safe squares. So ZodK probably thanking his lucky stars that he did hang on to win that game, because it was definitely in his pocket before that happened. So let's see, Tristan has got... Oh, he brings in Claret from the backup box. That's an interesting choice. Maybe we'll need to watch Game 2 again to see why he thought that was a good idea. And Vicelord, of course, going tankless again, with first pick Florentia again. We saw that in Game 1. He has Clotaire as one of those big rangy AoEs. He's also got Elwyn. He's also got Kruger. He's got Helena as another big rangy, dangerous AoE. So let's see if Tristan's tank and healer setup can counter that. We've got single target Ares. We've got a fairly standard Claret setup. Claret, I think, with no faction buff. Unless Claret is Strategic Masters, which I don't believe she is. And Vicelord opening up with the rush on Clotaire, so we definitely know what's coming. He's got the Vanguard Lancers on to give him a little bit of extra protection, but I don't know that that's going to help. We don't have any cavalry DPS over here. Tristan opting to horsify Hilda, that's interesting. So Tristan and Vice are 1-1. This is in Game 3. We know that Chung and ZodK are also 1-1, so they're in Game 3. We may or may not get a chance to go back and check how Junnie's games were going. And of course, we haven't checked in at all on Baikenfu, Arcadius, and Nidori. So hopefully they're winning. Yes, full-on biased stream. Full-on. This is a Gildan watch. But we've been seeing good games regardless. Like, we just watched Chung lose a really good game. A really tense game. And to be fair, Chung did make a big mistake early in that game by trying to Reign of Glory his Elwyn when he couldn't because of Leonhardt. Okay, Vice getting Helena set up. Tristan trying to protect his key units, it looks like. Yeah, that Clotaire is gonna rip some shit up. I want to say I like Tristan, but you know what? I like Vicelord in this match. I think Tristan is not as strong against a tankless rush team. He's going to be fairly unfamiliar with Clotaire, and I'm not 100% sure what this Claret's doing. I guess against a tankless team, he's hoping that his unfaction buffed Claret can basically go in and kill one of these threats, and it'll be a good trade for him. He does also have Altamüller, who he seems to really like. I'm not super convinced by Altamüller as a standalone DPS personally yet. I haven't had enough chance to use him in Apex. So he's really kind of riding the Liana, Hilda, Ares tandem here. So we'll see what kind of damage this Clotaire can do, but this might answer our question right away. Yeah, I'm not sure what the Claret's doing in the whole box, much less this team. Okay, so Tristan's entire team is just utterly devastated now. They're utterly debuffed. Liana goes a long way to help, but that is his healer spoken for now. And Vicelord has whatever follow-up he wants. Now, Clotaire used his one skill, so he shouldn't have anything else up his sleeve. Kruger, of course, is always dangerous, so he's going to shield himself. He gets another couple spaces. And now Tristan can't do anything about that Dark Breath until the next turn. Helena can also, of course, move in. With Shiv. So Helena can reach with Shiv. Yeah, Vicelord's definitely going in aggressive. I mean, it's fairly clear right from the ban pick that his plan is to get in there as soon as possible and overwhelm Tristan's defenses to make the tank irrelevant, the fact that she's there. Okay, Junnie just posted in chat that he is also 1-1, so he's going into Game 3 as well. Alright, so here's the problem with Claret. That's the entire point of Claret, right? She does survive, so that's something, but this is going to be a trade. This is going to be Claret for Kruger, who has already acted. So Kruger has done what he can. He's put some damage on these guys. To be honest, I mean, I wasn't sold on Claret anyway, so trading her for Kruger, I think, is a good trade. We have to see that as a good trade. That's what she's in the box for, is to take out some unit like that. She definitely wasn't going to be able to take out this Clotaire. So getting Kruger off the field so he doesn't have more AoE next turn, that's good for Tristan, but she's just effed now. Okay, Junnie about to start Game 3 as well, so we have 3 Game 3s from the players we were watching. I guess knowing that Junnie will be in a game, we'll just take a quick look after this. We'll take a quick look at Group F to see what Baikenfu's up to. Okay, so Ares takes his fixed damage. He doesn't have rights right now. Is he going to counter kill himself? Close. Alright, so he is able to take out the Clotaire and get back into guard range. Now, Tristan definitely has the ability to turtle up around this spiky tank. Now this is what I kind of didn't really like about him going in horse mode on turn 1, because the remaining DPS are cavalry. So Hilda's still very spiky. Elwyn is not as much of a threat with spiky Hilda here, able to be healed, but here comes the Helena. Oh, she's not coming yet. She's just moving up, getting her tiles splashed around to give her a bit more range. Yeah, Vicelord I think is still going to want to not take the pressure off, but he's going to be a little bit more careful about just charging in blind. I think a good combo for him will be to try with Elwyn first to strip the guard. Then his Helena will be able to get in and pick off one of these other units. He'll also have the option of an act again next turn as well. So Vice is still, even though I don't like 2 cavalry DPS against Hilda with a healer, Vice is not in awful shape here. This is still a deceptively even match. Yeah, I'm not sure about the no shrines on Leanna either. I mean, if Tristan is smart, he can kind of use the fog and his... Alright, here we go. Let's see what we managed to strip off this Hilda. Rain and Sword Soul. She's still guarding. She takes increased fixed damage. Oh, that's from Clotaire. The fact that she's still guarding is the main thing, to be honest. Tristan's trying to decide if he wants to get healed up. Qtaru, Professor Qtaru just beat Trisket. Congratulations! Yours was one of the matches I commented on at the start of this stream, that it was kind of 2 friends of the channel. We're watching your respectable guildmate Tristan in Game 3 of his match against Vicelord right now. So Hilda's still guarding. Tristan does have the ability to heal back up and take out Elwyn's last life. Now, of course, Helena can come in and do some big AoE damage here. Even if he can't get through the Hilda, she'll have a lot of crystal damage to splash around. So Tristan, I think, is going to want to get his team healed up here. The final match was Epic Bozal Performance, Death by Surprise Trap. I'll have to go back and check that one out after we're done the live streams. It sounds scary. Anything surprising about Bozal sounds scary. Alright, so it looks like Vice is going to take this opportunity to try the Helena move. So he'll come in. Helena's initial attack will theoretically bounce off Hilda. Right, so this is just a question of seeing what the AoEs can do. He's getting some debuffs. He's getting, like, equipment disable debuffs on all these characters. But none of that Crystal Petal Storm was enough to... It would have been great for Vice if he was able to take out Ares. But that's Elwyn gone now. So Vice is left with just Helena, who has no big crystal move now. And a healer. And Tristan's team is fairly injured, but he does still have a tank and a healer. So I think this one, barring any huge mistake, I think this one's fairly safe for Tristan. Yeah, Helena's not going to be able to get through that Hilda, and this is not a good condition Hilda, right? So she's in Lance mode now. She only has one move. so Tristan's going to need to be careful about his positioning here to make sure he doesn't trap any of his own units. But yeah, I think, barring any huge mistakes, I think Tristan has this one. Helena's also deceptively tanky on her own tiles, right? So Tristan may make a mistake trying to pick her off with a weak unit and counter-kill himself. With the act again on Helena, he also has the opportunity to potentially try to trap Hilda in the fog if Tristan's not careful about his move order. He needs to move Altamüller first, to then make Vicelord waste his Helena turn. Yeah. Helena has enough mobility that she'll be able to get out of this fog. That's not a problem for her. But now Vicelord's going to have to move Helena, which then will let Tristan open up this tile with Ares, and he can move his one-move Hilda back out of the fog. So, does injured Ares try to make a play against Florentia? Yes, he does. Doesn't secure the kill. And now when he moves Hilda out, Ares is not being guarded. Right? So this is a chance for Vicelord to take out one of Tristan's DPS. Which he does. It might end up being a grindy game for the center. Tristan's Hilda is back in action. She's at full health. She's a Lancer. She has her revive, so she's in good shape. Helena, surprisingly difficult to kill, though. And I think Vicelord kind of needs to rely on Tristan maybe making a mistake, overestimating one of his DPS units, and crashing into Helena. We'll see what happens. I think he plays it safe. Yeah, with Florentia down. Vicelord does have the damage advantage, but I don't think a single Helena can last all the way through the next 6 turns for that damage advantage to really matter. So I'm going to call this one for Tristan. I just want to see this turn, just to see if anything really scary and mistakey happens. Helena definitely still has the opportunity to try to get some AoE damage on that Liana, but if Tristan's smart, he'll just make sure he keeps her healed up. And from what I know of Tristan, he is smart. He can also try to block Liana in. She has fine mobility right now, though. Yeah, so she's going to come out, heal up the team. I think... I don't see how Vice wins this. Yeah, Tristan laying claim to the center now. Let's see what Altamüller can do. Now that he's full, let's see what he can do against this injured, albeit on her own terrain, Helena. Oh, Tristan playing it safe and just going to the middle within guard range to buff up. Yeah, I think even with that damage, this is the problem with Tristan having a healer. You know, you can take out half of Hilda's health with your... As long as Tristan can heal back up, then he's safe and he can pick away. Helena has healing on her tiles too, though. That could end up being a problem for Tristan if Altamüller ends up not being a strong enough DPS to take her out. Tristan's been playing it fairly safe by coming into the middle and keeping his characters healed up and buffed up. Okay, so he's act again on Altamüller now. We might finally get to see Altamüller do something aggressive. So let's see what this does. It only takes her to half, but that's enough of a bite that she's not going to be able to heal back up to full with her tiles. So Tristan might be able to get ahead of the damage now. Yeah, see, now Tristan has his whole team, so he can heal up Altamüller and then just continue chipping away, Hilda, it looks like, is not doing enough damage to counterbalance the healing on the tiles. She was at 62, he hit her, and then she healed back up to 62. But Altamüller should be able to stay on top of it, as long as he's healthy. Which right now he is. Alright, so I think we need to see what Altamüller can do here. Yeah, that's it. Alright. GG, Vice. Good game. Good game, Tristan. Congratulations on your win there. Now let's quickly take a gander at some of the other groups. Let's see how Baikan Fu did in his group. Okay, Baikan Fu, my clanny, beat Lufia Scarlet, so he'll be fighting Mist Soldier in the next round, which is tomorrow. Group G, Arcadius. Lee Man defeated Arcadius. That was kind of expected, to be honest. Lee Man is a well-known, very good player. Let's see in Group H if Chung's match is still on. It is, so we'll come back to that one if we get a chance. In Group D, we have Junnie and Mioko, also still ongoing, so we'll come back to that one if we get a chance. Group K, Zanson beat Auto Run, and we were also looking for Nidori in here. So how did Nidori do? Pete defeated Nidori. So Nidori and Arcadius are out. Baikan Fu and Tristan are in. So that gives us a choice of Junnie or Chung. And let's take a look at Chung's match, just because their last match that we saw was such a nail-biter and it was such a crazy fight. I just want to see who these guys have deployed. Okay, ZodK has Tiny Jess, has Illustrial, Ares, and Leonhardt. Chung has a dead Jugler already. He also has Bernhardt, his own Tiny Jess, Akka, and of course his all-star Elwyn. So it looks like ZodK's Ares just came in, and probably that's what killed this Jugler. He came in with a single target attack, killed Jugler, and sucked the team around. And it looks like Chung's Bernhardt must have gotten teleported in, so he's right in the mix. And he's already taken the first life off ZodK's Hilda. That's interesting, because ZodK's entire back line is all extremely hurt right now with no healers. Even though the only person Burn killed was someone who had a revive, I think that's a pretty good trade, getting Burn for an entire team of almost dead characters. Okay, so Chung gets the opportunity to move up with his Tiny Jess and finish off Hilda's second life. Also gets a little bit of team healing from that. So ZodK has a really injured Leonhardt that can't be healed, or an Ares. So Ares comes down to finish off this Tiny Jess. Whew. This match is wild. ZodK has a big advantage here, though, in that he still has 4 units. Chung is back into this same problem that he had in Game 1. Yeah, where he just has Akka and one Elwyn who he's hoping can do all the work for him. To be honest, I don't know. I think Elwyn... Oh, he's stunned too. That's awful. Elwyn has a better chance of carrying this match than he did against Sage and Rosenseal, in my opinion, just because Sage and Rosenseal are good range magical counters. But this... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Chung can come back. Because no matter who he kills, if he brings Elwyn in and kills any of these units, healing up to full. Oh, that's game. That's game. Tiny Jess able to creep in, get her act again, and fully kill Elwyn, who has no revive because he was beside Akka. So that is GG ZodK. Congrats on your win, ZodK, and so sorry to see that, Chung. So let's see if we still have time on Junnie. Is Junnie still going? Junnie is still going. Game 3, Junnie. Let's see what kind of condition they're in. Alright, what do we got here? Junnie, it looks like, still has his full team. He's got Himiko, Mariel, and Tiny Jess, who are all kind of long-range, annoying threats. He has a tank in Hilda, and he has Bernhardt with his sword dance. Mioko, is this game fairly early in? Everyone's in fairly good shape. Oh, Helena's dead. So Mioko has Jugler tanking, he has Bozal, he has Healer, Liana, and he has Sage, who has already come in and popped his 3C from the looks of things. So this is actually, yeah, this is only round 2. So round 1 must have been a lot of action. With the Sage 3C already popped and Helena already dead. So Junnie taking out Helena on either turn 1 or early turn 2 definitely gives him a leg up here. Bozal could be a threat against this team. Who killed Helena? Well, I'm seeing Helena tiles all the way up here, so it looks possible that Helena crashed into Junnie's tank, and then Tiny Jess was probably able to kill her. Tiny Jess could have teleported Burn in and then killed Helena with her own Act Again move. Himiko just pushing Jugler back for now. He doesn't want to have to deal with that dive bomb locking his team down. Himiko is a very annoying character for her ability to prolong games by pushing the enemy team around. Apex is crazy, and we're actually seeing some crazy moves here. Or not moves, but a couple crazy games. So Junnie just going totally bananas, sending Bernhardt in like this. A very injured Bernhardt. How can you download Langrisser on PC? Well, theoretically, there is a PC client, but I've heard a lot of reports of it, the download not working. But just try going to the official Zlong Games website. Let's ban the spammer too while we're in here. If the official link to the client on the Zlong Games website isn't working for you, then you might have to check like Reddit or Discord to see if they have a better link. Oh, I remember. I heard reports that, yeah, it's since the latest major update, Jason, that the download link just wasn't working for some reason, but I think I heard that it wasn't working for Chrome, but if you switch to like Microsoft Edge, you can get it working. So, I don't know, maybe Zlong is working with Bill Gates on that one, trying to get more people to use Edge. So yeah, unsurprisingly, that dangling Bernhardt is toast. But Junnie's still in pretty good shape. He's got a T-Jess, who is always powerful. She'll be able to take out... Well, she won't be able to take out Bozal, probably, but I think his intention is going to be to take out that Jugler. Mariel is also very dangerous. She can potentially punch through a tank. She can also do a follow-up guard ignoring attack. Okay, apparently Firefox working too. So maybe it's not that they're working with Bill Gates, maybe it's just that they're working against Google. So Mioko trying to get that Jugler back up into good enough shape to survive a potential Tiny Jess onslaught. I think Junnie's game plan here is just going to be to try to avoid whatever this Bozil is unleashing. So, Baikonfu, just taking my notes here. Baikonfu won, Arcadius lost, Chung lost, Nidori lost, and Tristan won. We don't know for sure that Tristan won. Actually, we do. Yeah, we saw him kill Helena. So it's all down to Junnie now to even the odds. Get one more guildmate through. So he gets the 3C off, which doesn't do anything readily apparent right away. Jugler still has tons of mobility. Bozil now 0 mobility, so he's not going to be doing anything there for right now. But we also have a couple of these ninjutsu debuffs, which will come up at the end of these characters' actions. Mariel has the potential to ignore guard. So she has her act again after she does her first attack, when she switches into attack mode out of healer mode. And if that first attack gets guarded, so for example, if Mariel manages to come in and attack one of these units and Jugler guards it, then her follow-up attack that she gets from her act again can ignore guard. So Junnie has a couple of weapons. I guess we just want to see what Mioko wants to do with his... He's already used Jugler's jump, so he's not going to have it back until later in the match. So it looks like he is going to be happy to camp in the middle and make Junnie come to him, knowing that if Junnie gets close, he's going to give Bozil a target for his AoEs. Now, Bozil also brought Sleep, so as long as Junnie's units aren't immune to debuffs, then one of these units can be stunned. It's definitely a concern of Junnie, is working around that Bozil. The problem is, as long as Leanna's around, it's going to be hard to use like 3 characters to take the Bozil out. So I think he's going to want to try to take out the Jugler, take out the Leanna. Mioko still has a solid team because Junnie can't just single a unit out and eliminate it. So Jugler's still guarding physical and guarding magic until the end of his next action. And he brought Master Vice, so he has another AoE as well. Unless he used it on turn 1, which I don't think, because he was still pretty far back when we tuned into this match. So he used his 3C, but he does still have another potential AoE up his sleeves. Theoretically, as a follow-up from Bozil. So, let's see, what is Junnie going to open this turn with? Tiny Jess does have her act again. So if Junnie sees an opening, he does have the ability to teleport someone in, teleport Hilda to reposition his team to be around guard next turn. He needs to be careful of this Bozil has 3 move now, so Bozil has the ability to come in and target them with an AoE. And we got the Act again on Sage. That's an interesting play early in the turn. So he's committed as healer. Whatever Junnie does here now can't be healed until next turn. Except through Gift of Eternal Life, theoretically. Jugler's AoE healing. Yeah. To be honest, I kind of give the slight edge to Mioko here now. He has position. He has some potentially crippling debuffs up his sleeve still. All it takes is for Junnie to get the wrong debuff, and it's over. Like if this Tiny Jess gets silenced. So Tiny Jess punch alone is not enough to take out that Jugler. Oh, I see the Dobermans are upset again. They tend to be the heralds of bad tidings. I don't know if they like Junnie's odds. Or maybe they're just woofing in solidarity with Jugler. So that whole act again was just to get the faction buff back up? Okay, I think Junnie might need to make a play with Mariel here. Yeah, Himiko single target attack is not gonna... That actually left Jugler with more health than he had before. That was probably to attempt to steal buffs, which... He didn't steal the guards. So he didn't steal anything important. Now Mioko has to decide if he moves with Jugler first, then his guards are off. He can move with Bozil first. And see if he gets some lucky debuffs. See if he gets some silence or some heal block. Junnie's Hilda's gonna lose her guards next turn. Oh, I wonder how many matches are still going on. The ones we the ones we picked out to watch ended up being longer ones that went to game 3. Okay, so he is going to go ahead and AoE. Wow, that's a big AoE. That pretty much halved this Jess. And he's going to have follow-up AoE with Bozil. So Junnie, instead of going in, is opting to just heal up a bit with Mariel and group up and hope that this Bozil doesn't hurt him too hard. Okay, so here comes the black hole. It did hurt. What kind of debuffs did we get, though? Mariel can't be healed. T-Jess and Himiko fixed damage after combat. Not looking good for Junnie now. His characters are all so hurt. He doesn't really have any real healing. Okay, so... Yeah, I don't think there's any way that just Mariel can bring the team back from that. So that was pretty good. Everyone's healthy now, but the thing is, now Mioko just has follow-up. So He has another Bozal AoE, and there's no heals left, so he can just chip away at Junnie's team now. Let's see what this Earthquake does. Okay, Mariel's dead. That just outright killed Mariel. Himiko silenced, so she's not going to be able to use any of her annoying push skills for a couple turns. We already saw TJS not able to one-shot this Jugler. He's going to try. No. No. I think that's it for Junnie. Yep, I think that's it. I don't think... He can't heal up, and I don't think his hurt TJS is going to be able to do enough now. He's just got the hurt TJS. Himiko is not really a problem right now. So Mioko just pops her teleport to waste that. Which also means that Hilda, unless she can use her guard this turn, is going to have to leave one of these units exposed. Okay, so she... Nope, that's a faction buff. So Junnie is guarding Himiko, but this TJS is exposed now. Mioko has control over the center. Mioko has a couple of good DPS units here. Like, I don't think Junnie can even stall out with the Hilda if that was his plan. His only healer is TJS 3C. No, I think this one's over. Yeah, I think this one's over. Let's go take a look at see if some other matches are still up. So rip Junnie. So who's still in matches? See if there's anyone we're familiar with. Oh, Nitro beat Kampa. Very interesting. I thought that would be a hard match for Nitro, actually. Absol won, True God won. Sui won. Kaze's still fighting. Zelda won. Meow Sensei won. Concede. Rope. Oh, Coco Goat. I've seen you on main chord. Higtang won. Deader Than Dead won. Santachai beat Kata. There's Kutaru's game against Trisket. Oh, Boomer won. Ichao. Yeah, I think we watched the long games because there's only a few games that are still going on. Whooper won. Thousand Ninjas won. GG. Zanson, we already knew that. The Lord Thy God won. Congrats on that one. Q beat Air. Cecil beat Fierler. Loomis forfeit. I know he mentioned he had like a social commitment that he had to go to today, so he must not have been able to find someone to play his account. And speaking of which, I haven't seen Moondoggy in here when we were looking through the brackets, so he must have changed his name, and I'm not sure what he changed his name to. Not sure what he changed his name to. Lowly Devastator won. Will underscore won. Winged Kuribo won. Okay, so a lot of really good players advanced to round 2. Where were those games that were still on? I should have kept track of that. I don't really know who they are. Let's watch Kaze. Let's watch the end of Kaze's game. So they're 1-1. This will be game 3. Kaze, of course, is a main quarter, a frequenter of the main Langrisser Discord, and he's got Jugler and Liana healthy, Hilda as well. So double tank setup, and an Elwyn who's looking like he's on his last legs. But TyShira has Zerida, a very injured Tiny Jess, a very healthy-looking Bernhardt, and his own Jugler in deep. So it looks like Kaze is going to try to explode the Tiny Jess with Jugler's 3C. Smart move. He's also guarding this Elwyn now, who has no life and no health. But if Zerida has her Shadow Raid up, she doesn't need to rely on Alhazard. She can still ignore that guard. So she could finish off Elwyn, assuming she hasn't used that skill already. If Elwyn goes down, that leaves Kaze with only 2 tanks and a healer, which is annoying to try to take out, but with a tank and a Bernhardt, Bernhardt's a pretty competent tank killer. So this is an interesting one. I think this one hinges on whether Kaze can keep this Elwyn alive. Oh, and for some reason my stream is still showing this is Tristan versus Fenrir, and no one in the chat's corrected me. Let's fix that now. There. Should have done that before I started this 2-hour-long stream. Alright, that was an admirable attempt by TyShira to get that extra little fixed proc to kill the Elwyn, despite being guarded. What I don't think he counted on was Jugler healing the Elwyn up so much that it didn't matter. It was worth a try, it was worth a try. No, you're forgiven. I was just grilling ya. That was totally my bad. That's on me. That's on me. I can't foist my mistakes off onto the chatters. Except Qtaru, I can kind of blame Qtaru. So Zerida's down. Elwyn in decent shape, being guarded by this Jugler now. See, Bernhardt's just so hard to kill, and he's such a beast. I don't know if he's going to take out this Jugler, though. He has Shield Bash. I think Kaze's in good shape here. Oh, gets the Gale with the Sky Archer. He is able to use the Sky Archer to help block out the middle in case it comes to that. But TyShira is not scrambling to the middle yet. Not quite yet. He moves up to protect his Bernhardt from this Elwyn. But Elwyn is still a threat. He has a forest that he can attack into to Jugler from if he wants to do that. Which he'll be able to heal up. Hilda's in horse mode now to help her against Bernhardt. Yeah, I'm thinking Kaze wins this one. So act again, Elwyn. Elwyn has no revive anyway, so he doesn't need to worry about sneaking away from his teammates. Elwyn's first revive was already used up when we first joined this fight. Jugler can't be healed right now. He's also not guarding. So Elwyn should be able to kill Bernhardt, right? These werewolves are in close quarters. Alright, so it looks like Kaze's just making the wall play to try to keep Bernhardt away from Jugler. I mean, Bernhardt can move wherever he wants. But Kaze can use Elwyn to kill Bernhardt. Jugler's not guarding physical now. Unless he doesn't have the confidence that he's able to get through these werewolves, but he should be able to. I guess maybe his skills are down. Still, TyShira doesn't have a healer, so I don't think there's any risk of him counter-killing himself against Bernhardt. Alright, here comes Reign of Glory. This should be it, I think. Oh, he's going for the Jugler. That's fine as well. I don't think he's going to kill the Jugler, but he clearly wants to take him out first. Now, Bernhardt can be quite dangerous against Hilda, but Kaze does have the benefit of having a healer as well. Kaze opting to buff up and play the turtle game. Heal Hilda back up to full. It's hard to block Bernhardt out with his big movement from his faction buff. We'll see if Elwyn's able to finally finish off this severely injured dog this turn. No werewolves. It is faction buffed. Okay, Bernhardt shield bashes Jugler to stun him. That's okay. We still have... Kaze still has Hilda guarding. Still has the healer. Uses Liana to take out those werewolves. Most of them. I think Kaze honestly has his pick. As long as he can reach, either of these units are. He's committed to the dog, so he's going to go for it. Okay, so that's it. We just have a severely injured Bernhardt versus way too many units to come back from. So that is going to be it, and that is going to be GG. Congrats, Kaze, for advancing to the next round. GG, TyShira. We didn't get to see your entire game, but it looks like you put up quite a fight. Alright, so Tristan, looks like Tristan will be taking on whoever this one unit arena defense character is. They have lots of likes. And, oh, interesting. They were in the playoffs last season, but before that they didn't play very much. So we'll have to scout, watch their games and see how they did, to see what kind of chance Tristan stands against them. They have an awful lot of likes for only being around for the past couple seasons. And then on this side, if Tristan does advance, regardless of which opponent he faces here, he'll have a very tough match. So that's going to be it for me. As I mentioned earlier on in the stream, I just literally got back to the studio after a sporting event of my own this weekend, so I am starving and sweaty and tired. So we got to see a lot of really interesting matches. We got to see a few interesting plays. We got to see a few interesting mistakes. And we got a couple wins and a few losses for the homers that we were cheering for. So yeah, a good Apex stream. Assuming I get back, I'm going to be back a bit later tomorrow, so I don't think I'm going to be able to stream any of the top 128 matches live. But when I get in, I am going to do like a review stream where I go back through the brackets and rewatch some of the matches that I was interested in. So I'll watch Baikan Fu's match, for example. I'll watch Tristan's match against one unit, an arena defense. And yeah, see how they did on stream. So until then, until tomorrow, thanks everyone for coming out, and thanks for the very lively chat on the stream today. And yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone, and happy Langrissing, everyone.